If you have questions for Kyle, go ahead and raise your hands. Patrick?
Hey, Kyle. Kind of an obvious question, but I think it's one that people might be interested in. When you're facing a guy like Max Scherzer, not you personally, but the team, and you're on the mound, does that make the game a little more special? I mean, the guy's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and he's been on a remarkable run. So did that get you hyped up maybe a little more than usual?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, for me, it's more so lining up against the Dodgers. I mean, I really am not truly facing off against Scherzer. It's not really me versus him. It's me versus the Dodgers lineup. So that's what gets me going. I mean, all the respect in the world to Max Scherzer. He's absolutely one of the best in the game. But I have a job to do, and that's to go out and beat the lineup that he's in. So yeah, it's fun to match up against those guys. Him, Buehler, DeGrom. Those really upper echelon starters. But at the same time, you can't let those kind of things really sit in your head just because you got a job to do. And I have a job to take down the Dodgers.
A little bit animated out there. Obviously, you weren't thrilled with some of the balls and strike calls. But were you able to channel the frustration and your energy and whatever you want to call it, and channel that into what turned out to be a pretty solid outing?
Yeah, I think through the first 3 innings, I was extremely frustrated with Ed behind the plate, and the kind of day that he was having. But I think, after having that meeting on the mound with Buddy, getting back in the dugout, I was able to, like you said, channel that energy into something else, into getting outs, executing pitches, and keeping guys off base and keeping runs off the scoreboard. But yeah, I was definitely glad I was able to channel that, because I was probably a couple choice words away from being sent out of that game.
Thanks, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Harding?
Yes, Kyle. First of all, early in the game, obviously, they ran your pitch count pretty high, and we had kind of talked that this is a very patient team you're facing. What was your thought process through the first 2 innings as you're trying to figure out how they're attacking you, and you're throwing a little bit of everything as you attack them?
Yeah, as you and I talked about, was it yesterday? That lineup can go a couple different ways. They can be extremely aggressive, or they can kind of wait you out and make you come into the zone. And that's kind of what they did early today. Is they did a good job of laying off some quality pitches that were strike to ball. Sometimes I'll get some bad swings on that, or bad choices on them, swinging at pitches, but they did a good job of leaving those things alone, and were able to create traffic early and get my pitch count up. But thankfully we were able to adjust, and start filling up the zone, start hitting corners, start living on the edges, and got weak contact and was getting a lot of ground ball outs.
For you, this is 2 straight pretty good starts against the Dodgers here. What are you learning about facing this team that you're going to be facing a lot in your career here?
With them, every single outing is you got to be locked in. From my rookie year in 2017 up till now, it's always exciting to face them, but at the same time, you got to make sure you're dialed in, because if you're not, that team can put you in a world of hurt really fast. But yeah.
When you kind of got things rolling, and then you get the walk and score on the home run, were you sure, even going into that at bat, that you would get the 6th inning?
When I got off the mound in the 5th inning, I went over to some of our position players and told them good job. Like, defensively, they made some quality plays behind me. As I was walking back to kind of my spot in the dugout where I sit, Buddy was walking up to me before he could say a word. I told him I got one more in me, and he just turned around and went right back.
That's great. All right. Obviously, it's frustrating to lose a game like this, but can you just give me a general thought on how this team performed throughout this series?
Yeah, I mean, this loss, it sucks. You know, we had them. We played quality baseball, you know, all 3 games against them. Unfortunately, it kind of didn't turn our way, but I think we've been having a lot of fun over the past, you know, month or so, kind of playing spoiler, you know, especially when we tore through the NL East. You know, we're trying to do the same thing in the NL West, you know, mess up the Dodgers, mess up the Giants who are coming into town. We got a chance to, you know, create a lot of pressure on people and on teams. Obviously, this isn't the situation that we want to be in. We want to be one of the teams that is, you know, going for a playoff spot, that is, you know, in front to win the NL West. And that's where we want to be. But, you know, right now, I think this team, understanding the situation that we're in, we're enjoying creating that pressure and watching, you know, a little bit of panic go on the other side of the field.